Welcome back to Read the Book First, a book to movie adaptation podcast. Today we are talking about season two of Percy Jackson and the Olympians. And to help us wrap up this Percy Jackson trio of episodes, Amanda has come back, of course.
Hello. It's been a long, wild journey, and Zeus himself tried to stop us from revealing that he murdered his daughter.
Spoilers.
I told you. I asked permission.
Listeners, if you've been paying attention to the last two episodes, obviously we've been talking all about the Sea of Monsters. And back in season one, we talked about the first two episodes of the Percy Jackson show. We did not finish it because of schedules and Christmas, and we just didn't, the world didn't line up, and that's okay. But we are going to be focusing on the season two because that is following the book, The Sea
hmm
of Monsters by Rick Riordan. Obviously, spoilers ahead, but also if you've not listened to the other two episodes, what are you doing?
Also, you don't have to watch the TV show because nobody
Nah.
has to watch anything. But, if you haven't watched the TV show and you care about spoilers, also, it's a
Yes.
little too late for you.
Yes. Okay. So season two, it's split up into 8 episodes, which I think is the good amount of episodes for this book because, like we talked about in the book episode, it's not the best book of the series.
Mm-mm.
It's arguably the worst of the five. Still being a
Agreed.
good, enjoyable book, but not the best. Um,
Yeah. Because I mean, you listened to it more recently than we talked about it, but uh, the thing about the Sea of Monsters is it's kind of like he was still figuring out what he was doing with the
yes.
series, and so a lot of the encounters are just shot for shot Odysseus style remakes
Yes.
without their own kind of unique
Yeah.
anything.
And I think the show does a good job of balancing the episodes with the plot of the actual book, but also incorporating the changes they made from season one, but also adding in things that lead to season three in a very I thought it was pretty seamless. The changes that they are making and the things they are hinting at, I think makes sense, especially since we do know filming schedule wise, there was a bigger gap between season one and season two of the Percy
hmm
Jackson TV show. And you can tell because the kids have grown up and are almost done with puberty, a lot of them. Thankfully, they're filming season two and three back to back in a Hollywood sense, as in within the same 12 months, they have some sort of filming. Which I'm glad because some of these kids that are supposed to be 15 or 16 are definitely 18, which is like that's not a huge age difference in Hollywood specifically because of Hollywood issues and movie industry and TV show industry issues. But visually, a 15-year-old and a 19-year-old visually look so different.
hmm
So I think it's good that they are already getting into season three, and I hope that they start filming season four before 2027 just so they get going. But that's just a side note because I was looking at some PR TikToks a second ago. Um, all
Yeah,
right.
I totally agree. I think they did a really good job. I don't even think it's kind of seamless. I think it's pretty much perfect is too strong of a word
Yes.
because this is not a perfect series by any means.
Hmm.
But I will say that I think every choice that they made to change things adaptation wise was a good one. They
Yes. And
and
the
hmm
tone is from the first season is obviously the first book, the first season is a little bit more lighthearted. And as the series go, it's going to get darker because we know what happens in the later books. But I
hmm
think the tone is still well balanced and it's seamless from season one to season two, even though you can tell like visually the kids are much older than they technically should be with it being a year. But whatever. Like, I think tonally it's really like it's seamless and the vibes are the same and it's not like a lot of times season one and season two of episodes or seasons of TV shows are like production wise, like the tone and the atmosphere is just different, right?
hmm
Whereas this one, it feels like I could probably look it up and I probably should that the same creators are having creative control. And so therefore it makes sense and that you can just like I rewatched season one and went right into season two and it felt like I was watching the same show, which I love.
I also think building off of that tone thing, one of the strengths of this show is, like you were saying, the books they kind of get darker as they go on. And but the part of the reason why the Sea of Monsters is questionable is because it's arguably goofier than the first book. Just because the stakes are not lower, but they feel a little bit lower because it's like if Grover dies, Percy's gonna die, and it's like you know you're not gonna kill Percy. Come on, be so for real here, man. Like, and
Yeah.
here the stakes aren't well, the stakes are is Grover gonna die, but the stakes are also is Luke gonna get the fleece? Is Annabeth
Yeah.
gonna side with him?
Hmm.
Like is Clarice gonna be more of a obstacle
Hmm.
rather than putting her pride aside and letting them help? Like
Yeah.
there's just a lot more going into it, and it's
Hmm.
great.
I agree. Episode one is called I Play Dodgeball with Cannibals. I do like that the episode names are almost all, I believe, chapter
They're all
titles,
chapter titles,
which
yeah.
I just fun little, insight for us nerds. I thought this first episode did a great job of shortening the exposition of the book because the exposition of the book takes too long. And I thought the changes they made in episode one are really good. I love that they start off with Grover having an adventure and we get to see him actually using his skills and him not just kind of being a goofy satyr running
Mm-hmm.
around, kind of flopping around. Because in the book, sometimes he's a little bit of a comic relief too much. And I think
Mm-hmm.
here they give a good amount of like, no, he knows what he's doing, and like he still gets stuck in traps, but that's because these traps are made for mythical beings like gods and
They are
stuff.
literally made to snag satyrs. Like
Exactly. Yeah.
I also really like how they're giving more characterization to Luke's army. Like,
Yes.
in the very first scene with Grover, he meets this girl, Allison, who's I don't remember if she's daughter of Apollo, yeah.
I don't
Archery.
remember who and who.
I'm
She's
gonna
a
stick with
she
that.
was a demigod and he recognized her from camp. That's the important
Yeah,
part.
yeah. And so, like, that kind of recognition of having that plot be happening earlier and faster is a lot better. It also, and I guess we'll get to this later, actually, so I'll hold off on that thought. So
Hmm.
I also really like how they changed the fact that Tyson is no longer just homeless.
Yes.
He's actually living with Sally and Percy
Yes.
because it's like, yes, it makes sense that Sally is like, hey, child Cyclops,
Yeah.
come in here.
It makes sense that one, Sally is working at a homeless shelter in her free time. Like, we love our Queen
Queen.
Sally. But also, it does make sense, like, she can see through the mist. And so I do like that that Percy knows he's a Cyclops. Like, we have that knowledge, and we already have that, like, and he's less of like just like in the book he's like a toddler but in a teenager body because he's a cyclops toddler, which is weird. In the movie we talked about how he's kind of just like like a klutzy ditzy dude, and here he is kind of he isn't at least traditionally smart in this way, and he is klutzy and he is awkward, but it felt less of like a negative thing
Hmm.
than it could have been. I think they did a good job balancing that. Like he's not an idiot. He is just not socialized, unaware of himself. Like he is clumsy because he's growing into his Cyclops body still. Like I thought it was very well done, and I do like that we already get Percy being annoyed immediately by him.
Well, it's very much like because Percy's an only child,
Hmm.
technically, kinda.
Hmm.
I mean, he grew
Only
up an only
yes,
child.
he was raised an only child. Yes.
He was raised an only child, and the experience of getting a sibling, being an only ch from being an only child, would be very annoying,
Hmm.
especially if he's somebody that he just feels so like. And it's such a good kind of Percy characterization thing because on
Hmm.
the one hand he is annoyed by him. On the other hand, the second anyone says anything else about him, he's ready to step up.
Yes.
Even to
Yeah.
Annabeth, like
Yes.
because Annabeth shows up as they're going to school.
Which I love this. We skipped the
Yeah.
whole school bit. I'm like, thank God. We don't need the 20 minutes of them randomly at a human New York school. No, they just get Annabeth shows up in her invisible hat and they go. And I'm like, thank God. Thank you, writers.
Yes, and so she sees like Tyson immediately like grabs Percy in his arms, and Annabeth is like, "You put my friend down," and like Percy's like, "Wait, what?
It's
Everyone's
fine.
good here. We're all chill." Um, and then they had the three Graces in the cab scene, which is always fun.
So fun. Every time it's so fun. And I do love that already in this episode they're pointing towards Percabeth because the sisters are going, "Oh, is this your boyfriend?" Like they tease him about it or tease her
And
about
then
it.
Tyson has that moment where he's like, "Oh, is this girl in the photograph?" And it's like,
Yeah. It's just enough like awkward teenagers who haven't really like dated before, but
mm-hmm.
also there's something real there. And like I love them and I love that they've written letters and they talk about that and I remember I was watching this, I was talking to Isaac and I was like I love these characters and I love that they end up together because I've loved this like pairing since I was a kid. But like I love seeing them like in this new version, it's just so realistic and it's not forced and it's not like immediately making, Annabeth like some girl and damsel, kind of like the movie kind of makes it like something for Percy to chase. Like she's still Annabeth by herself and he's still like I'm excited for the next seasons. I'm so
I
excited.
It also sets up really well like a lot of Percy's behavior later in the
Mm-hmm.
seasons, but we'll get there when we get there.
Yes, yes.
So I was worried when they cut the school stuff that they were going to cut out the Canadians, but they didn't. They still had the Canadian the giant Legrashian whatever they're called.
Canadians.
Yes,
What are you calling them Canadians?
because that's what they called them in the book. They made a joke about it.
Oh, I didn't. I forgot about that. And we have the whole little battle where Tyson protects Percy with the fireball. Uh, and Annabeth has to let Tyson in. And then Cannibal gets in with him and Clary spears it. Um,
I
um,
also really love like how in general Clarice gets to really shine in terms of her strength as a soldier is more in command rather than in like solo combat.
yes,
Not that she can't totally kick people's ass,
but
but in the sense of like that's what really distinguishes her and Percy.
yes. I also love the actress Dior who plays Clarice. I think she is a great actress. And I love the behind the scenes stuff that she's been posting from the seasons. Like she is a hoot. And I think she plays Clarice and gives her so much depth. And like I think the writers are also, making sure Clarice gets her literal screen time here, but also like more characterization. And it's just great to see these female characters be so different, acted so different and be so nuanced because we don't get that often in these action shows. It's usually we get one, maybe.
And it's also nice, and that kind of leads to something else that I had wanted to mention. I really like how they do how all of the character arcs in the
Yes.
show. Like, I don't think there's an episode, like a character in here that I'm sitting there and I'm like, wow, you did nothing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
great.
No, it is. I think that's why this show is one of the reasons why it's so successful right now because it's so well crafted. We don't get that often for this kind of demographic of TV shows. We get a very like often like either Disney ified like Disney Channel version show, which those are fun and have a place in media, but that's not Percy Jackson, like it's good it's fun to see like a show made for kids and teenagers that is actually good, like through and through.
And it's
Um,
also nice because it's not like they're not dumbing down things for the kids, but they are making it less. It's not just fan service for the adults watching.
yes. Yeah. They see Luke take a sword out of the tree, of Talia's tree, and he gets on the Blackjack, the Pegasus, and it's the first time we see the Pegasus.
Hmm.
I'm so excited. But I do like that we see that and you see, I get all these kid and teenager actors are doing great jobs. Luke in this season is so good and he does such a good job of playing the Luke is such a complex character, and like he's not terribly complex in the second book as far as compared to the other
No.
books, but here we're seeing him already have these complex ideas of like, am I trying to protect my own or am I just a pawn? Like he's battling with these issues, you
And
know?
the thing is, I also really, really like how it's not as simple as like Luke isn't just this mustache twirling villain, like because that's
Yes.
how he comes across in that second book, if we're
Yeah.
being honest. Like it's very silly. Um, so it's nice that like they really take the time to flesh him out.
I think the guy who plays Tantalus does a great job of being goofy, but also scary. Like he is creepy. His makeup and hair, it's creepy, but also he's kind of a dummy. And he has like this wrath behind him that I really enjoy. See Poseidon claiming Tyson in the first episode.
Because he tries,
Um,
oh yeah, you're right,
mhm,
because Tantalus tries to kick him out, and
mhm,
Percy, of course, immediately jumps to his defense.
mhm. Yep, and Annabeth's going to the tree. We get a lot of flashbacks in this season, and I think it was smart that they gave us the flashbacks almost always obviously spurred by Annabeth because they're her flashbacks, but like
Hmm.
they're timed pretty well, and I think they did a good job of that throughout the season. Um, and then Percy, the episode ends with Percy having the dream, the combo dream with Grover,
Yes.
which I
And that
think
was a
is
fun
done
way to
well.
do it.
Yes, I like that they're like both wearing outfits and like it shows that it's not just Grover reaching out and being like, "You're now stuck with me." It is more like it shows their friendship. And I think what they use it really well too, whereas Annabeth has the flashbacks, Percy has these dreams with Grover. It's that in the book, Grover's just kind of gone for most of the book, and it's kind of weird. We have this new trio that includes Tyson, whereas in the show, because they show so much of Grover on the island as well as through these dreams, it feels like he still is connected. And I thought that was a smart way to show it and make sure that Grover's story doesn't get dropped, like it kind of does in the book, until it's needed.
Yeah, and it's not just like constant flashbacks to him being in trouble. It's also showing like what's going on the
Hmm.
island and how this trick is working and like and especially in the later episodes once Clarice shows up, it gives it a little bit more like sensibility, for lack of
Yeah.
a better word.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Then we get to episode 2, Demon Pigeons Attack. Uh, and we have Annabeth sneaking into Chiron's office to look for clues about where Chiron is. Um, and Percy's distracting Tantalus here with like the rules because Tantalus is trying to like banish him to his cabin and all of that, like, you know,
Hmm.
which again, I think is a fun way to show Percy is fearless, but also he is sometimes often a bit dumb. And then and Annabeth, is able to talk to Chiron and get some information. And I think it's just uh,
And then
a
we
fun way
have
of
the
showing it.
first like big deviation
Hmm.
where like when Chiron tells her like you can't let Percy go on this quest.
Hmm.
And she's like, I can't do that to him. And then she thinks about it and she's like, okay. I mean, that's a little unfair, but there's like a real reason for it. But
Yeah. And then yes, she gets the bit of the great prophecy, and for the chariot race, they were going to work together, and then she's like, "No, you can't. You can't work with me because if I win, I need to win so that way I can go on this quest and I won't choose you so that way you're protected."
and of
And
course, but
mhm,
She doesn't lie to Percy, but she doesn't tell him that. What she
yes.
tells him is, I need to win this so I can go on the quest. And he's like, oh, cool. So we're doubling our chances. And I'm like, oh, sweet summer child.
Yeah, and then we have Tyson who uses his Cyclops hearing to overhear Annabeth talking to her cabin mates, being like, and without context, kind of like some shitty friend stuff, like we can't let him win, et cetera, et cetera. So then they have this like tension between them because there's this misunderstanding, and Tyson is hearing stuff without like normal teenage stuff, just with a mythic twang to it because of their Cyclops and chariot races. And I thought that was one fun way of showing that because every person deals with that sometime in life. But like also,
Hmm.
it's fun because it adds tension to the relationship again. And the way they're acting, these kids are in love. I'm so convinced by
Hmm.
them. And I'm so excited for later seasons. And I hope it is acting because that way it'll be real in later seasons. You know, I'm just, ugh. And then
It's
Tyson writes
also,
Sally a letter. Sorry, I just
oh
remember
yeah,
that.
that's so cute. Um,
Tyson.
The other thing about it that's really fun is because Tyson, being Tyson, doesn't like immediately drop everything and tell Percy what he overhears.
Mm-hmm.
It's only after like Clarice wins the chariot race,
Mm-hmm.
spoilers, giant pigeons attack.
They play emotions to get the pigeons to go away. So funny. Also, so funny that Chiron listens to Emotions by Mariah Carey
Hmm.
canonically in the show. That's great.
I think that's funnier than the opera joke that they made because those are
Yeah.
old and boring.
Yes.
Not opera itself, but like those kinds of jokes are.
Yes.
Speaking of which, um, yeah, I really enjoyed that whole little fight sequence, and it was really funny that just watching Percy like do the whole 80s like hold up the boombox thing.
It's so fun.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so then Clarice gets chosen as the winner. She gets to lead the quest,
She chooses Annabeth, and
and
Annabeth
Annabeth tells
chooses,
her not to
uh-huh.
pick Percy.
Yeah. And instead chooses Chris.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris.
Oh,
Um,
Chris indeed.
yeah. I just it's just a smart way of showing this tension there, you know?
It's also a really smart way of moving of like it getting the story to unravel of like that betrayal and what's happening between them. And it
Yes.
also leads to a really good like argument between them that I like, which is a lot better than the one in the book,
Mm-hmm.
where Annabeth finally, is it here that she reveals that she hated like living a real life?
I think it's a little bit later, but it's fine.
Percy was and Annabeth kind of in the first two episodes have this running tension of like, hey, how come you weren't telling me things in your letters? Like, hey, how come you weren't telling me things in your letters?
Mm-hmm.
And Annabeth finally reveals to Percy that it's because she hated normal life. She thought it was
Mm-hmm.
boring and dull, and it wasn't really that interesting, and she just could not deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she just
And
felt like, I don't really understand how she felt about why she didn't just tell Percy that, but I think it's something complicated about feelings.
yeah, no, it's like her hatred or dislike, I guess is a better word, of normal teenage stuff is so rooted in her trauma because when she was in those pivotal developmental age as like a 9-year-old or whatever, like she was forced to go on the run and she like is constantly trying to solve problems and make sure everyone's like it's just all so much of what she is dealing with is just trauma responses and especially with when it specifically comes to this, like going and being like, okay, you're in a quote, normal life, and you're gonna go to normal school, and you're gonna have normal problems, and your body's gonna act normally. But of course, her body's not acting normally because one, she's a demigod, and two, she's dealt with a lot of trauma.
Hmm.
And so then, like, she has all these issues and she can't figure that out. And of course, she doesn't like it because the world around her is not meant for her, both as a demigod or as someone who's been traumatized as a child.
Exactly. And it's a really fun sort of revelation to have. And I like the argument that they get into. I love, even though he's not Nathan Fillion, I do love Hermes. I loved Lin-Manuel Miranda Hermes.
I think he does a good job because I think he is like kind of like that quirky kind of guy that
Questionable
Hermes
singing
can
aside,
be.
sometimes he's a really good actor, and
He's
people
a
don't
really
give
good
him credit.
actor. I agree. Like when he kind of gets like dark, it's good. He's a good actor there.
And it's good too because he rides that line of Hermes kind of having this lighthearted energy
Mm-hmm.
while also still, like you said, having that darkness of I'm a
Mm-hmm.
god, don't mess with me.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Hermes gives Percy some gifts and after Percy has asked for a gift from Poseidon and there's the cruise ship that shows up. It's kind of similar in the book and in the movie where like he has a few minutes to to decide, right? But Tantalus shows up and Tyson saves the day with this
They
point.
take the boat out at this
Yeah.
one. The boat is
Yeah.
there. Annabeth is shows up too, doesn't she?
Yes. Yeah. Because it's Annabeth and the three of them head out on the boat.
Yes, and then
Hmm.
Tantalus starts shooting arrows at them,
Yes.
which
And
I
that's
thought
when
was
Tyson
very
stops.
funny.
Yes.
Um,
And then we have episode 3, we board the Princess Andromeda. And it opens with Clarice going up to the Oracle. Again, the Oracle, every time, I love it. It goes from spooky, silly Halloween costume to terrifying. And I like
Mm-hmm.
that it does that. And I love that she cuts off the head because, of course, she would. That's her reaction to cut off its
Yeah,
head.
like talk about traumatized.
Yeah. 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 They get on the cruise ship. Tyson's talking about how it smells like monsters. And they're sneaking around on the ship and they're like hanging out by the pool and they see Allison Sims, who was earlier in the show, but here she's like relaxing on a chair. And
Mm-hmm.
like it took me a second to realize it's the same person, the
And
same camper.
it was also fun because it gives that fun bit of dramatic irony of like, oh, we know that she betrayed Grover,
Mm-hmm.
but Percy also knows because he has that empathy link with Grover
Mm-hmm.
now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that was like a fun way to do that reveal.
Yeah. And they fight and they just throw her overboard, which kind of made me laugh a little bit, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I mean, like Allison is a character.
Yeah.
Um Allison is a character that is there because we need somebody more antagonistic
Yeah.
than Luke
Then
can
Luke.
be
Hmm.
at this point in time. And I
Hmm.
kind of like how petty she is.
Yes.
And as because I watched this like 3 years later than everyone else. Um, there was a lot of people complaining about her on the internets, and I think they're very silly because her she does what she needs to do and she does it well.
Yeah. Ares talks to Clarice and has this there's an intense conversation there and gives her the ironclad and the zombies. And I like that they're specifically not just Confederate soldiers because
That was a
that is just
weird
a can
choice.
of worms that Rick Riordan chose to leave there. So I'm glad it's just, in general, warriors that have lost in battle, including a blockbuster guy,
Yeah,
which
that was the funniest one because it's like this raises
I
so many
lost the streaming
questions.
wars.
I have so many questions about this, but I know I'm not supposed to think about it that deeply, so I'm
No, you
just gonna move
cannot.
on. I'm
You
just
cannot
gonna
because
move
it gets
on.
problematic real fast.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And it's just better to say, okay,
Hmm.
okay, we just
Yeah.
gotta scoop right by that.
And I really like that they show Clarice struggling to lead the crew.
Right? Oh.
It's so good.
I also really like, and this is just a personal preference, I like that they kind of took out the more overtly abusive vibes of Ares. I think
Yes.
that was a better choice.
Like he's
And
still not a good
now,
parent.
no, of course not. None of the gods are good
Yeah,
parents. None of
exactly.
them. None of them. I
The
am
care
very curious though. Who is Clarice's mom?
I know. We don't know. Uh, I I love Clarice in this series because one, I think the actress is amazing, but
Yeah.
two, the care that they put into a Clarice, like we were talking about earlier, I think is so important because it gets me so excited for the other characters that only kind of show up in one or so books later on in the series. I
Hmm.
just know that they're going to be taken care of because of how they're taking care of Clarice.
And it's also nice because they really let Clarice be a character instead of just bully stereotype that's
Yes.
slightly gets redeemed.
Yes, exactly. 100%.
Like
Um,
like you already brought up the fact that she struggles to control the crew until she
mhm,
figures out what's going to motivate them and what they
mhm,
want.
mhm,
Um, but it's also really nice that they have this moment of getting real respect for her because that was
mhm.
fun to watch.
The trio that's on the boat attempts to ambush Luke and crew and fails, but they end up seeing the coffin of Kronos, and Luke
Hmm.
does his whole evil villain kind of speech where he talks about the Great Awakening and he talks about the Great Prophecy and is like, they haven't told you yet, have they, Percy? Oh, Annabeth hasn't told you. There's more drama. I'm going to add more drama between your friendship to try and break it.
Well, he had kind of vaguely heard about the prophecy, didn't he? Because he
Yeah.
was like, they were
He
on
just
the
knows there
ship.
is one, but he's kind of like, I don't need to know kind of vibes.
I don't want to know about it. And then
Yeah.
Anna, and it's like, Annabeth, if you see me going towards the prophecy, just
To
tell me the
stop.
code word, boom.
Yeah.
And then he is immediately regrets it because he's like, oh, you're just
Uh-huh.
going to use that to win arguments. That was
Yeah.
funny.
That was funny. I also like that they have Tyson gets shown down to the training room because they're like, "Oh, you're a monster. You can join us." And he like
I
plays along with it. He does such a good job of playing along with it. And then he creates a bomb and it's like this slow-mo moment. And I love that they give Tyson this like strategy because like yes, Tyson is goofy and klutzy and unaware of lots of things in the world because he is a literal Cyclops baby. But like he's not idiot and he's obviously very mechanically gifted. Like and I just
it's
love that they
also
do that.
it's also really, really nice because it gives more weight to the whole like Kronos's army, right?
Hmm.
Where like why is it growing so much? Because they're taking in the monsters too. They're
Hmm.
not just leaving it at the like
Hmm. The other children of the
demigods,
gods.
which
Yeah.
is also a little ironic for totally different reasons, but like we
Yeah.
can get there later.
Clarice figures out to get her crew to follow her, it's that she has to promise them a like better, what's the part of the underworld that,
Elysium.
thank you. Uh they she promises them Elysium so that they're not in their like torturous hell that they are with because of Ares and the deal, etc., etc. And I think that's very interesting, not only because like she's, figuring out the strategy of how to become a leader and her version of being a leader, but we also see her going from I'm gonna manipulate what they want to like caring about them. She's like, I'm not responsible for their afterlife. Like, and that's a lot for anyone to take on, let alone this child who's also trying to prove like to be make her dad proud of her.
And it's also complicated too because like she, she didn't take anyone else on her quest. She even
Hmm.
like disinvited
Chris.
yeah, that guy. And like the thing about it is it's because of the prophecy. She didn't want to like lose anybody.
Hmm.
And that when they talk about fatal flaws a little bit later, that's kind of I like that they were kind of hinting that that's her fatal flaw is she
Yeah.
pushes people away
Yeah.
because she's afraid.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then the episode ends as they're going off in the lifeboat, and Annabeth tells a shortened version of the Great Prophecy. And Annabeth's like struggling because she's so unsure about things in the future, and that really freaks her out, obviously. Um,
And
and
is
we
this
get
where
to
she talks about the like human error, human little tiny decisions? Or is
yes,
that next one?
I believe it's this part. I didn't write that exactly, but that would make sense because my notes it says Annabeth is unsure of everything. Episode 4, Clarice blows up everything.
Yes.
And we
I
get it
loved
starts
this
with the
episode.
yes. It starts with a flashback because Annabeth finds an old emergency kit and bracelet, and has a memory of the hideout when she's younger, and Luke giving her this bracelet because and like telling her this is like a good luck charm, like you can't it protects you. It's just a bracelet, and we know that. But it shows like Luke and Annabeth's relationship here, like the foundations of it,
Hmm.
and like there's a larger age difference between them because specifically because they use a younger child actor for Annabeth and it's the same actor as Luke
Yeah.
from earlier. But I do
But
like
I
that
do
it
buy.
shows, yes, I do like that their relationship because it shows how much Annabeth like trusted and looked up to Luke.
Hmm. I was just gonna say I do buy that as a angsty 13-year-old Luke though.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's all like has a hoodie. And then Talia shows up. We see
It's
Talia here.
and she's a British pug person and
Yes.
I love that aesthetic.
I love that she's British punk. They say Thalia. We are gonna go against them and say Talia or Talia
Talia.
because they say it
That's
wrong.
yeah, that's a weird it was such a weird choice.
Yeah,
And it
whatever.
doesn't matter, but it's still like it's weird.
Yeah. And if you're gonna get mad, at least get mad in the comments so we get some engagement from it on socials. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then we have young Grover who shows up. Like we see them in the sewers, in this flashback, because like we hear about how they all came together before camp, before Talia sacrificed herself, right? We hear about this, and I like that we start to see the bits and pieces. And it's not just for the audience to have knowledge, but also to of what happened, but also it gives Annabeth some time to reflect on it as she is going through these really hard like moments of like, am I going to go against Luke, one of my longest and dearest friends, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also really sweet because first of all, I love the portrayal of Talia for so many, many, many reasons. Again, British punk aesthetic, love it. Two, I love that you can see the protectiveness towards Annabeth, and the actress does a really good job of giving that the hidden meaning that we learn from later on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Where like we learn that it's because she was it's because she had a younger brother who she lost. But,
Hmm.
obviously when he wrote the book the first time, he didn't know that.
Yeah.
Um, like, I'm sorry. That's a
Yeah.
very obvious retcon.
Yes.
And so having that kind of like relationship integrated in there, if they ever do Heroes of Olympus, that'll be a really good thing to learn.
Okay. Side note. I do you think it's even possible for them to do Heroes of Olympus? Because these kids are going to be in their 20s by the time we get there.
I don't know.
I know.
I that is
I was
above my
thinking,
pay grade
I
and
know. I was just thinking about that the other day and it made me really sad.
but also they can always just age people up. Like
Yeah.
it's not like there's not a world where uh Percy is still questing in his 20s,
No, I know.
but it is going to make him beefing with, literal children funnier.
Yeah. Anyways, focus back in. They're on the ironclad by this point, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, and she tries to throw the bracelet away because, the
Mm-hmm.
thing that I forgot is Talia is very, very much like, no, we're not going to go do this. We're not going to go, like, play their games. We're fine on our own. But then Annabeth gets, like, tricked, goes back for the bracelet 'cause she
Oh
lost it,
yeah.
and gets tricked by the Cyclopses and used
Mm-hmm.
as bait for the other ones. So,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, it's brilliant for a couple of reasons. This is revealed over the course of the whole episode. It's brilliant because it sets the precedent for Cyclops using other people as bait. And it also is brilliant because we get to see Talia in action.
Mm-hmm.
We also get to see the decision why she chose to go to camp, even though she and Luke had been doing fine on her own. She did it
Mm-hmm.
specifically to protect Annabeth. So that also brings in all those dimensions for her and Luke and Annabeth
Yes.
of like the amount of mixed feelings that happen right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
Chef's kiss.
It is, again, it is, they do an excellent job. On the Ironclad, Clarice is trying to figure out because they're going into the Sea of Monsters, right? We have the two options. Are they gonna go into like the octopus guy who Amanda probably knows the name of, or are they going into the not the octopus guy?
Scylla or Carabas?
Yeah, they have the guy on the cliffs with the tentacles, and then they have the whirlpool, right? So
Yeah.
like, which one are they gonna do? And Clarice is trying to figure out, and Annabeth has opinions, and Percy, is like, well, I guess we should do that, and they like have this,
Because they're just they're
yeah,
kind of they all and they did this in the first movie too, first movie, first season two, where they really reference like explicitly this is what this guy did to get around them.
mm-hmm, exactly,
Um,
and so
so
they're used,
Annabeth is
yeah,
like sacrifice six of your crew.
mm-hmm,
And Clarice is against it, but goes along with it ultimately because she
yeah,
doesn't think there's another way
mm-hmm. But
until she
before
actually go ahead.
I was like, before we even get to that, like when they're still deciding, like there's the three of them, like they're under there. Clarice is trying to figure out, like she doesn't want to sacrifice, like you're saying, she doesn't want to sacrifice her men because she has this like emotional like connection to them, like she responsibility for them. Whereas the
Hmm.
rest of them are like they're zombies, whatever, let them die, they're already dead, etc. Whereas Clarice doesn't literally believe that anymore. And they're like there's a leadership kind of issue there between Annabeth and Clarice of differences. And at
And
one
it's
point, Annabeth asks Percy, um, how do you know it's the right choice? And Percy says, honestly, because it's yours. And
oh.
those lines, again, the Percabeth person who is in the writer's room is doing us good. I love them and the setup. It's like their friendship is so important. Percy cares about Annabeth so much. And like, ugh, I just, it gets me.
And it's also so nice because like it would have been really easy to kind of get it into this like simpy
Yes.
non-characterization part, but
Yes.
it kind of just is something that shows up throughout the entire story, entire ep season of like Percy just knows that Annabeth is the one with the plans and he is the
Mm-hmm.
executor of those
Yes.
plans. He's
Yeah.
not a planner.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And as they're like deciding all this, we see little glimpses of Tyson finding this bracelet that Annabeth had thrown overboard. It's like, oh, I've been playing catch with Rainbow. And we're like, who's Rainbow? We see glimpses of him like through
Hmm.
like because Tyson sees it. And we are big Rainbow fans. We talked about that last episode. We love Rainbow. But I do like that they set that in that like Tyson has this connection to this creature and like it's good and not just like, oh, how are they going to survive this ocean? Oh, random mythical being saves them. Like I like that because I love Rainbow. Then as they're approaching the two mythical beings, then Clarice is, struggling with the decision,
And
and
then
Percy
she
gives
sees
her
her.
this pep talk, which I
Hmm.
love, because that's like he's good at hyping people up, like
Yeah, and
genuinely.
doesn't she also tell him the like full prophecy here?
I of hers, I believe
Yeah.
so. Yes.
'Cause that's also such a good moment of vulnerability
Mm-hmm.
from Clarice. Because
Mm-hmm.
like obviously we've seen her kind of struggle to get these people like sort of to listen to her and what that really entails. But at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, it creates this it's just fun characterization.
Yes. And then they go through and they go by Scylla, and Scylla starts killing off some of the crew. And this is where what you were talking about how Clarice changes course last minute. And doesn't she like shoot at the whirlpool or something?
Yeah, she swerves over to try to go into the whirlpool and
Hmm.
shoots at the monster that creates the whirlpools.
Oh yeah, and the wind thermos gets opened up in the broiler.
Yes, and
Yes.
then
And then Clarice saves Annabeth here because Annabeth's about to fall in.
yes.
Yes, which I think, yeah, yeah.
There's just a lot that's fun about this was such a good scene.
It's a good sequence of events. The ironclad itself is a fun set piece. Like they do a good amount of green screen and set pieces in this show, and I think it's a good balance. It's not overdone one way or the other, especially as we get into the latter half of the season.
Hmm.
Um, there's a lot of great set pieces. But we have episode 5. We checked into CC's Spawn Resort. We kind of had like a cliffhanger of them just like falling off the ironclad. We don't know how they survive, right?
Hmm. I think I think Cece is one of my favorite episodes.
I think episode 4 and on, the episodes are all stellar.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think the first 3 is a lot of exposition, right? Which I
Yeah.
get. But I think from episode 4 on, the season is like, heck yeah.
It's also the season, well, I wouldn't say it's the season parts of the season that are least like the book, but it kind of is. And it's just, I love the whole conceit of changing it so that, for again, so first of all, these people know that it's Cersei
Mm-hmm.
quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Third of all, the idea that this spa is 100% about like her helping people with their fatal flaws
Hoping heroes face their fatal flaws.
so that they can go and like face the siren and get back on their quest.
Mm-hmm.
And like that the revelation of like what Cersei's fatal flaw is.
I also love that we see this Stavros guy on the jet ski go by the sirens and then like die horribly. Like it's not funny that he dies horribly, but like I think the spectacle of it all, and we see Cersei being manipulative here, and I do like that we give like it's not like again like you said it's not secretive. Um, I do like that we see that. It goes back and forth between the spa and Clarice. Clarice wakes up on the beach and falls right into the trap that Polyphemus sets for her
Hmm.
and brings her into the cave with Grover. And I do like that they set up Grover and Clarice together in this cave earlier than the book. Like we see more of them because we never see so far in the show Clarice and Grover really interacting solely by themselves. And it's
Hmm.
a fun dynamic. I
It
like that they
is.
did
And
that
it's
time.
also a fun dynamic because it's too bad that the Get Along song didn't come up when with Clarice. That would have been really funny.
Yeah.
Um, but all that being said, it still is a fun dynamic of like this guy who's like, yeah, no, we can wait, we can be patient. She's like, no, we cannot.
Mm-hmm.
I refuse to be saved by other people. I am going
Mm-hmm.
to be independent and save myself no matter what.
Yes. Uh, then back at the spa, Cersei points out to Percy that his greatest flaw is that he puts his friends first. And to when he's talking to
I
Annabeth
love
about
the
it,
vision that shows up there, like all the
uh-huh,
moments where he was so overly self-sacrificing.
yep.
It was great.
Mm-hmm. And when he's talking to Annabeth about this, he says, if I had to choose between saving you and or Olympus, I'd burn it all down. Which one I love
Hmm.
because we all know I love Percy Beth. I've talked about it 5 times already this episode. But two, it's so great as we get into the season when we talk about Luke and his reasons to doing what he's doing, and Talia and her reasons for what she does later in like the flashbacks and stuff. And then we have Percy. So we have all, these three characters who are all wildly different. They have similarities, obviously, but they are all so different, but they all have this similar thought at one point in their life. And I love that we
Hmm.
see that here. And it's very obvious. And like, obviously, it's more of the like, he, I think, means that less literally than the other two necessarily. Like, he won't he won't cross that line as quickly, I think, as the other two.
But it's
Um,
also good foreshadowing for what's
mhm.
going to happen later too.
Yes, exactly.
Because, yeah, well,
Yes.
and also I feel so sad for him in this episode because he
Mm-hmm.
thinks he lost Tyson, so he
Mm-hmm.
like Walker Scoville, he's really, really good at being Percy. And I've
Yes.
seen people whine that he's too like serious, and I'm always sitting there and I'm just thinking to myself, you guys know that we're not in Percy's head. Percy in his head is the DuckTales theme song. Percy from the outside looks like a actual like weapon of mass destruction.
Mm-hmm. There's a reason why he is feared by so many of the gods later on in the series. It's not because he's just like Poseidon's son. It's because he can actually do something about it. Like,
And that loyalty that he has is
uh-huh.
very dangerous because he's not loyal to like his family. Well, he's loyal to his family, but not his
Mm-hmm.
God
Godly.
family.
Yeah.
And that's also the thing that Annabeth and him kind of have these really fun conflicts about of like, am I too much? Am I too human?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I think it's so well done. But he gets
Also,
turned into a guinea pig.
yes, he does. Because he figures out through a conversation that, Cersei is just manipulating people. She lets people
Mm-hmm.
get by when people are starting to lose hope in her process. And
Mm-hmm.
she's just keeping people there because she's lonely. And her
Mm-hmm.
fatal flaw is that she just keeps helping people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which I thought was a fun sort of way to twist that.
Yes.
And then she turns him into a guinea pig
Mm-hmm.
as he confronts her about it because he tries to be Percy about it and be like,
Yep.
hey, give the wax to Annabeth so she can get off of here. And she's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I'll think about it. Pfft, if I do that, literally everyone's gonna realize I'm a fraud. So no,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And then of course Annabeth comes and saves him and figures it out, and is able to release all the guinea pigs and release the pirates. And I do like when he's a guinea pig, like he's like messing with the water. We see him like make the water spiral or whirl still. I think that's a
Hmm.
fun little touch to
Oh,
it.
and that was a fun touch too that they talked about. Actually, I have one more thought that I need to
Hmm.
circle back to.
Hmm.
I really like also, speaking of like foreshadowing, how much Percy constantly is distrusting Luke
Yes.
and like talking about how he doesn't have faith in him and he doesn't think he can be saved and this and this and this, because that's going to be such a good moment when it happens.
Hmm.
Anyway, I also like how when his fatal flaw was coming up, he made the glass burst.
Yes.
That was fun.
Yes. Uh And in
Annabeth comes in.
general, in this season in general, I do like that they show Percy's powers developing. Like he's still not like a perfect soldier and he still doesn't have full control over the water situation, but like he is getting stronger. I do like
Mm-hmm.
that we see that. Um, Percy and Annabeth are able to get the wax from Cece and they set out, but then they
Steal it.
realize the steal it, yes, but they are not able to get enough wax. And so they tie Percy, right?
Yeah, they tie Percy up to the mast, and then as soon as they do that, Annabeth goes to put the wax in her ears, and it gets
Hmm.
blown away back to Cersei. 'Cause she's like,
Yes.
"You," because yes, like Blackbeard did get free and all that, but
Yeah.
she's still Cersei,
Yeah, she's still a
uh,
witch.
a Frenching sorceress.
Yes. Yes. And this scene, it got me. I'm not gonna lie, because I was just fully immersed in this episode. So they're going by the sirens, and Annabeth
Mm-hmm.
sees Percy and Luke fighting, and Grover's between them, and like she's like,
And
and
he
it's
starts singing the Get Along song.
uh-huh, and it's intense, and then Athena, we see Athena for the first time, and we're assuming that's what
Mm-hmm.
Athena looks like because it's this, you know, when I was watching this, I didn't think it was a vision. I thought it was real life because I forgot. I was dumb. I was like, Athena's saving her. And I was like
Well,
almost at
can I
tears. And
back
like,
up?
she's at tears. Yeah, go ahead.
To back up 2 seconds, she cuts through that vision of like
Hmm.
Percy and Luke reconciling and getting along,
Yes.
and that's when Athena shows up.
Yeah, because it's very like there's two layers, right? There's the first vision, which she thinks she cuts through when Athena comes and saves her. But really that's another vision and it's a trap.
Hmm.
And I remember I screamed at my TV because I got. They got me.
I probably would have gotten got, but also I don't know because I knew it was a trap because I don't avoid spoilers.
Hmm. Yeah. I do. And but Percy saves her and then Percy just saw Annabeth and says, I think you saved me. Like he's like, I just saw you. And again,
I didn't
the
really get that.
uh,
Um, no, I didn't understand it. I was like,
I
so
know.
he's just immune to the sirens?
No,
Okay,
he's not
whatever.
immune, is that his flaw that the sirens are pointing out is that he wants to constantly save Annabeth.
Okay, I don't get
Yeah.
it.
So like
I think we should just move on.
no, I know, but no, it's important to me. So he's like, I think I just saw you and I needed to save you, and my need to save you saved me. Because if I was ruthless and got hurt, then I couldn't save you. It's okay if you don't get it. I get it because they did not have the
I
bubble moment like the book. It was still very important to me, and I was bummed there was no bubble moment, but I'm okay
Yeah.
with this.
Okay,
I
so
was
I
happy with it.
think what you are telling me
Hmm.
is that the way they went about this moment is because Percy's fatal flaw is loyalty. When the
Hmm.
sirens were trying to exploit that fatal flaw of loyalty, it almost didn't matter because he could see that Annabeth was in trouble,
Hmm.
and that was the thing that was foremost on his mind. It didn't
Hmm.
matter. He wasn't being brought in by the sirens, he was being brought in by Annabeth.
Yes.
Okay, I think I understand.
Yeah. Because if he's gonna protect her in like this like weird dream reality mist version and also in real reality, he's still gonna protect her
Hmm.
either way. Kind of cancels each other out.
Yeah, see, okay,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
makes
yeah, yeah,
sense.
yeah. Anyways, episode 6, nobody gets the fleece.
I just
Um,
watched that today.
it opens with Tyson on the ocean floor with the bracelet and Rainbow. And again, we love Rainbow. Percy dreams of dead campers and Kronos and sees Talia's face, which is such a like I think this is a interesting combination that they do here because he's scared of the future that will be if Kronos comes back, but also he knows more about the prophecy and that potentially he is not the one to bring the doom or the end of the gods. It could also be Talia. So I think it sets up the Percy versus Talia tension well, and it's like he's not quite sure to believe it or not, but he is very wary of it at this point.
Yes, and I think it's also so well done because uh the way that they sort of framed her face, when they were like, "Oh, it's not Kronos." I literally one of the only notes I wrote down was, "Oh, then who is it?" Because I didn't realize it was Talia till they said it. Because
Hmm.
in that moment, she just looked so different.
Hmm.
It was
Just the
great.
version, yeah. Uh, we get a lot of Polyphemus in this episode, obviously, but at one point Polyphemus talks about how he loves living and relying by himself. It's like, okay, dude. Like he makes a big deal about it. I don't know. It made me laugh.
What made me laugh about it is when Clarice piped up and was like, "For someone who loves living by himself, you sure do talk to yourself. You sure do talk a lot." That was funny. Um, oh, we forgot to talk about the end of last episode. The they have a moment where they almost get away, but Polyphemus figures out that that Grover is a satyr and has been lying to him,
Hmm.
and then uses Grover's voice to trap Clarice and catch her
Yes.
off guard.
Yeah.
Um, and then reveals that he knows that there are more of them coming, using them as bait, as they established earlier in the season. I like that what they did with Polyphemus because in
Yes.
the book it was so stupid. How are you sitting there knowing that nobody was Odysseus? You
Hmm.
know he was Odysseus, so why are you getting mad and trying to track him down?
Hmm. No,
And
totally.
also Clarice isn't the one that reveals that Grover is a goat. It just kind of happens by accident because he gets distracted.
Yeah. What do you think about Luke calling Annabeth in this episode?
I don't even know where to begin. Like I what they have done to Luke, or with Luke, I should say, in this show is so freaking good. And it shows so much of what his motivation is and how much he just wants Annabeth to be on his side here so he doesn't have to fight her. And then on top of that, there's also the underlying motivations of trying to figure out if they found the fleece or if what. And then his own anxieties about did she die? Because we know that that ship got exploded and just all of the things. So that relationship is so much stronger and it gives the motivation for him to rescue her more weight. And then also like the conflictedness of his feelings is so good. It's
Hmm.
so good. It's just so good.
I agree. Annabeth and Percy get to the island and they pretend to be sheep. I found this part hilarious. Like they're crawling around on all fours in the stinky sheepskins.
And then
Cracked me up.
he's buying, and then Annabeth is like, yeah, she's buying, and
Hmm.
Percy finally bows. That was funny.
Hmm.
And then unfortunately Percy gets trapped.
There's a fake golden fleece,
Mm-hmm.
which I think again shows Polyphemus is like strategic and smart in his weird Cyclops way.
Yes.
Um,
But it's also fun because it's he's smart in the same way that Tyson is smart.
yes.
Well, kind of. Tyson's not really that cunning,
Yeah.
but he's very good at the technicalities.
Hmm. Yeah. Annabeth does the whole nobody's situation with Polyphemus, and then Luke shows up and discovers the fake fleece,
Mm-hmm.
where Grover finds the real one in the cave,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, he finds the real one in the cave,
Hmm.
and so Polyphemus senses that he's found it and immediately goes to open the cave slightly. But then Annabeth tries to distract him again and he hits
He
her
knocks her out. Yeah.
real bad.
Hmm.
And that's
And
when
then Tyson comes
Tyson
in.
comes in,
Yeah.
fights Polyphemus, And then
And they speak Cyclops for a second.
yes, that was so cool.
New language just dropped.
It was so smart to do that though, because
Hmm.
it gave a little bit more tension in that moment of like, is Tyson?
Hmm.
What is he gonna pick?
Yeah.
I mean, not
And
really. We knew what he was gonna
not
pick.
too much, but enough, you know. And then Tyson tackles Polyphemus off the cliff.
Yeah, well, they tackle him off screen. Then Luke shows up, sees that Annabeth is hurt, sees that they have
Hmm.
the fleece, and is like, very importantly, Percy is the one that's like, we need to give it to him so that we can save Annabeth.
Yes. Yes. Because again, Percy has two thoughts. It's save Annabeth, save friends.
Hmm.
Yes. Um, and Clarice is like, I'm not letting go of this, but Percy eventually convinces her to, and Luke does put it
No,
on Annabeth.
he
He like,
per no,
yeah.
he doesn't convince her. Grover starts to try to convince her, and Percy just catches her by surprise and snatches it.
And Luke does put it on Annabeth though. Um,
Yes,
but then takes
leaves.
Annabeth with him,
Yes.
which I think this is a fun difference here because it's like it shows again that Luke does care about Annabeth,
Hmm.
you know, like it's taking her with her. And
And
then
it
Tyson,
also gives that moment with his army of they don't really like Allison in particular is
hmm
loses faith in him a little bit because she feels like he's so focused on Annabeth and she
hmm
doesn't understand why.
yes, yes. And then
Which gives an
Tyson,
opening for the guy to manipulate her. The dude, the bad
what,
guy.
Kronos?
Yeah, that guy.
But Tyson as moves the boulder so that Percy and Clarice and Grover can get out, and then they get Annabeth's hat that got left behind, and they get on Rainbow and they chase after Luke. And that's how
Hmm.
this episode ends. And we get to episode 7, go down with the ship. We start with a flashback here, of to when Talia became the tree.
Kinda.
Yeah. Well, part of it. We get a version of the flashback, which I think is so smart that they do.
Well, and the part that they give us is more about like Luke's perspective of it when she,
Tells him to go with Annabeth to camp.
yes. And then that kind of folds into like Annabeth waking up and realizing that, oh my gosh, this magical, powerful healing item, it could be used to heal the tree.
Hmm. Yeah. And Annabeth wakes up on the ship. She's tied to the bed. And I think this whole part of this episode is, again, so interesting and new and smart that they add this because not only does it give more information to her and Luke's relationship, but also to how cunning Annabeth is.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. I also love that the ship is in port at Long Island. It cracks me up.
Yeah.
And that there's an Aphrodite kid.
There's an Aphrodite kid using charm speak. I was so excited to see that because
It's
I
so
was like,
fun.
it's so cool
Hmm.
that like again, it's so cool that Rick Riordan gets the chance to basically rewrite his series with all of the things that he developed later.
Yes.
I think
And
that's fun.
yes, it's fun. And also, we as readers who have read these books many times are like, we get this information that we wanted earlier in these books, right? And we get to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so fun without it being fan servicey.
Yes.
Hmm.
Because it's like,
Um,
yeah, I mean, it would make sense that Aphrodite has kids that could, you know,
yeah, schmooze it up.
schmooze.
Luke puts the fleece on the coffin and it slowly begins to work while Percy
No,
is sneaking. What?
Annabeth, no, 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 like Allison actually snatches the fleece off of Annabeth and puts it on the coffin without Luke's permission.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh, well, my notes are wrong. Um,
Maybe I have like that order, like the maybe he does put it on there, but
I
she's the
think
one
she
that
does
takes
snatch
it
it
off.
off. No, for sure, because she snatches it off because she again is like, why are we wasting time on this kid who is not on our side, where we can go do what we were supposed to do? And then Luke is like, I gotta control my guys, and I'm gonna go do this because I'm the leader, right? Like
Hmm.
to try to take it back from Allison. Yeah. Um, and Percy sneaks on to the ship, and
Oh,
uh,
he and Clarice argue because Percy just endangered the entire camp and Clarice's quest.
mhm,
Um, which I do kind of like that. I hate it, but I also was sort of on her side here. I was like, yeah, no, that was, I get it, boy, I get it, but man, that was kind of silly to give the enemy the fleece.
yes,
I really like how they're really showing how the that flaw is fatal.
mhm.
Because it's easy to be like, "Oh, your fatal flaw is loyalty." Okay.
It's like, yeah,
Oh, no, no, it is
it
because
is a
you
fatal flaw.
yeah. Oh, yeah. No, you just gave your enemy who's trying to resurrect the literal Titan god
Hmm.
this thing because you were trying to save your friend.
Yes. Uh, they end up. I like that when Percy gets on the ship, we have the moment with Blackjack because again, Blackjack's very important to me. As someone who, again, we talked about this in the movie episode. I'm not a horse girl, but I am a hippocampy girl, and I am a Pegasus girl. If a horse is not really a horse, I'm into it.
I feel like you're horse girl adjacent, whether you
I
want to
am.
be or not.
You've never said a ruder thing to me in my life. I am not a horse girl.
Okay.
Because you know who is a horse girl between the two of us? You.
Okay.
Not in the literal sense, but in the like connotation sense, yes.
I don't really understand that, but okay. I also really like how when Percy frees Blackjack, we don't see the horses talking to him. I think that's really fun.
Hmm. Yeah, he's just good with horses, man. Luke comes in to try and convince Annabeth to join sides with him. And at this point, we know, the audience knows that she has freed herself from the ropes, but she is still pretending to be like not fully recovered and to be tied up. Um,
Because at this point, Percy's freed her.
hmm and I also Clarice is like in the break room, like overhearing the campers playing their little magic card game.
Yeah, and that it's sort of a fun twist because like Percy's going for Annabeth and Clarice is going for the fleece. Percy gives her the info to like how to get directly to Luke's quarters.
Hmm.
But she sits and listens to this conversation because she hears them talk about camp and how they're going to invade it.
Hmm.
And so then that takes priority for her, which I
Hmm.
thought was another fun moment of characterization.
At this point, because like I think they're at this point before they have like the whole battle, or not, it's not really a battle, but like the fight part. At this point, the boys call Sally because they're like, who can come pick us up here? Because they don't have
Yeah.
the Chiron bit. They're like,
Yeah.
let's call Sally. So I do like that they do that because it goes with, that Tyson wrote Sally a letter. Like I just like Sally's boys. They're gonna call their mom, and I love that.
And it's also really cute too, because I mean, as much as I would have loved to see all the party ponies, there was
Hmm.
really no setup for it. So, and they already
Exactly.
established that the iris messages are down, so they can't call
Hmm.
anybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sally makes perfect sense. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yes.
Um,
Then
then
Annabeth is trying to convince Luke to bring the fleece to the tree so that the fleece can bring Talia back. Like, so they're like trying to convince each other of both things, right?
mm-hmm,
And while that's happening, Percy is up trying to get the fleece, and Kronos talks to him,
mm-hmm.
and then he has a fight with Luke up in that like area next to Kronos.
Well, because also Luke is kind of having this crisis of like, well, what do you mean? He would have told me if that could have done if that could have
Hmm.
worked. Like he would
Hmm.
have told me. It's like, "No, honey,
Yeah.
honey,
Yeah. And so while
be so
that's
for
happening,
real."
it's cutting to Clarice, who's going to go get Annabeth, and she has this moment where she goes, five against one, my kind of odds. And I'm like, heck
Well,
yeah, Clarice.
Because
Hmm.
Allison and all those people are like trying to track down Annabeth to kill her
Hmm.
because she's like Allison is like, all right, we're gonna take out this distraction. Um, and that's when Clarice like intervenes. It's not just her deliberately going after them. It's like, hey, I gotta do some stuff here.
Yeah. And during Luke and Percy's battle, Luke stabs Percy, but then Percy uses the fleece, so he's able
Hmm.
to get healed, and they're able to get Annabeth, Clarice, and Percy are able to get away with Annabeth and the uh the fleece, and Blackjack's there, and Blackjack's like, I will help. And so they put Clarice on Blackjack with the fleece to go back to camp. So it fulfills her quest. And also Percy cannot currently fly in the sky because of Zeus. Still.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't think they even really brought it up as an option because there was only ever going to be one person to fly on it.
yeah.
And with the revelation that the prophecy was like, you know, to fail without friends and to
Hmm.
fly home alone, I think like the second that they realized that Blackjack was there, that was kind of an obvious thing.
Yeah.
Um,
And then Sally picks up the boys, and there's a bumper sticker. What's up with the bumper sticker on that car?
I didn't look at the bumper sticker,
Everyone
man.
was freaking out about it because I forget. And I like my Percy Jackson lore. Again, it's been over 10 years since I've really read the series past this book. Who does Sally end up with? Doesn't she end up with someone else that's not a horrible person?
Yeah, no, she ends up with Paul Blowfish.
I think there's like a reference to him on the bumpers car because I remember
Well,
like when that clip came out, people were freaking out.
well, there's also that like whole thing. Whose car is this, Mom? And
Exactly.
yeah, so like
Yeah, yeah.
it's a hint to future
Yeah.
Paul Blowfish,
Yes, yes, yes. Which
which
is again
I think
so
that's
fun.
fun.
Yes. Luke is mad at Kronos because of this whole thing that we just talked about, right?
But
Where
then
he's like,
Kronos like
mm-hmm,
physically tortures him
mm-hmm.
and
And
tells
he's like,
him,
I'm loyal, I'm loyal.
and that was messed up.
And he's like, you have to go kill Percy. Like, if you're
Yeah.
loyal, you're gonna kill Percy.
Yeah.
And
And
that's how
that's
the
also
episode
scary.
ends.
And it's scary too because that's such a like reveal of like, oh, hey, remember how Kronos wanted Percy alive?
Mhm. Not
Never mind.
anymore. Yeah.
So, quick question. Do you think it's possible that like Kronos didn't consider that it would bring Talia to life?
I don't know. Never really thought about Kronos really as a anything other than big bad. I think he's just currently worried. I think maybe because he had the fleece on him for a little bit, so he obviously is more put together than he was before the season started in the
Mm-hmm.
timeline. So maybe he is like that helps him think through some more situations. Maybe.
Or
I don't know.
maybe he also like in that interaction with Percy realized more that Percy is not a good tool
Hmm.
because Percy is very stubborn.
Then we get to the last episode, episode 8. The fleece works its magic too well. Um,
I thought that was such a weird title to go with because they were like, they've been actively talking about how it could heal Talia, and it's like, you know that this is a consequence that could happen. Why
I
would
mean,
it
there's not
be?
many chapter titles left though in the book to pull from.
I guess that's fair. And also
Yeah.
with all the changes that they do in this one, like it
Yeah.
makes sense that they can't,
Hmm.
because I don't know if y'all have read the book recently. There is not a big battle.
They find Blackjack without Clarice. And in general, the bits with them talking to Sally again. We love Sally.
And it's also so good because she tries to go with them to like go fight at camp, and Percy's like, Mom,
I just
respectfully.
watched you die a year ago. Can you not be here?
Yeah, like respectfully, Mom, you are literally a mortal woman. And
Hmm.
as awesome and cool as you are not equipped for this.
Hmm.
And the best part is she listens.
Yeah. Uh, a fireball destroys Tantalus.
Yeah, that was really funny because he had a
Hmm.
chicken in his hand. I
Yep.
was so worried they weren't gonna like
To the food
have that
bits.
moment. And he also is like kind of messing up the whole camp operation because he
Yes.
keeps putting people like on chariot race duty instead
Hmm.
of, you know,
Protecting camp.
hmm. And it's interesting that Chris Rodriguez is the one that calls him out on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Go,
They
Chris.
also find Blackjack alone and realize that Clarice like couldn't get all the way there, so she started to run ahead and she runs into Chris and his patrol group.
Hmm. And this was so interesting to me. I think. Uh, it's fun to see. It's because like so often in these kind of shows, we have like the main characters and they're the only ones that ever think strategically or do stuff. It's them or the big bad. But here we have all these campers who we have like the actual campers and then we have the campers who are traitors. And we don't really find out until this moment with Clarice here, where like, oh, there are traitors. Oh, these kids are nuanced and aren't just NPCs out there. Like
Hmm.
it's just it gives so much depth to the show. Um,
And it's
and
also, and it go again, it's fun because it really goes back to that sensation of, oh, these are real people that are living in this world and have their
mm-hmm,
own motivations. They
mm-hmm.
are not just here so that they can die.
Yes, exactly.
And it's
Um,
also, again, it goes back to that, like, he did not know what he was doing. When we meet Chris in the books, we don't care about him.
mhm, exactly. Like it's not until I think like last two books of the series and the Heroes of Olympus where we like care about any characters that are not the main characters. Because again, like we've been talking about, Rick Riordan is kind of still figuring out at this point in the series what he's doing, right?
I would argue, though, that by the third book, he kind of had figured it
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah. Um, So then we have like the setup of this battle, right? We have Percy who's hyping up the campers. We have the traders attacking Clarice and Annabeth and Grover saving her with the chariot. And then we have Luke letting in the cannibals into in the army into camp. Um,
Hmm.
and then Percy and Tyson and the Legion are showing up to protect the camp, and there's this big battle. And Luke is just at one point just like punches the heck out
He's
of
just punching the
Percy.
crud out of him. And I
Uh-huh.
thought that was so funny because it's like it's this combination of, yes, he's trying to do what he's supposed to do, but
Hmm.
also he is so genuinely angry at Percy for
Yes.
doing so many things at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, he's just punching the stuff out of him.
Mm-hmm. Tyson and ends up saving Percy in this moment. Annabeth has an arrow, like it's like things aren't looking good, but then Clarice is able to spear the fleece into the
Well,
tree.
yeah, because they have this such a good moment where, like, Percy, having seen, Clarice do this before, literally just grabs the fleece, gives it to her, and she spears it in, and it works instantly, which
And mhm.
was interesting.
It's interesting, but also I do like that it's Clarice is the one that is actually doing this moment because it ends her
Hmm.
like whole plot here and her part in this friend group and in this like team. It ends it very well, I think, for the for this season.
And I think
Um,
yeah, I agree. I think it's a fun way to have this moment and give her that conclusion and also let her have, like, the glory of this. It's great.
hmm hmm And then
And that way she's making her dad happy without, like,
not being
screwing
loyal
over
to camp.
everyone.
Exactly. Yeah. And the fleece has turns the tree back into Talia and lightning um shocks her and Percy.
Knocking them both out. And the
Uh-huh.
last thing she's saying is, I said never.
hmm And then Percy gets visited by Poseidon, and like a dream-ish kind of
Yeah.
situation. Tyson's going to go work in the forge, and his dad does that says the brace yourself, um, which
Oh,
Poseidon.
Poseidon.
Little pirate dude. Um, but
He's so funny. Like, he's like, I'm not saying he's a bad dad because we just, like, don't see him do any kind of dadding.
yeah,
He's just so, like,
he's just a guy who has kids and is in charge. Like he's truly married to the sea in the way that like sailors and pirates talk about poetically.
yeah. And it's also
But like he
funny.
actually is.
And it's funny too because he's so, like, engrossed in what he's doing. And but it's also like I really do feel Percy's frustration here, whether or not
Hmm
that like they did this better in the movie where they have that kind of emphasis on, like, Percy feeling like Poseidon isn't listening to him, but he's listening
hmm
to Tyson.
Yeah.
Well, sorry. Complimenting the movie makes me Ugh. Tyson goes down into the bottom of the ocean to help him because bad things are about to start happening in the water.
Hmm. Yes.
And I like that that happens earlier so that we kind of get a sensation of like, why is this guy not putting in the effort faster?
When Percy wakes up from this like dream vision situation, Chiron is back, and Chiron ends up telling what really happened
Mm-hmm.
that night. And we see the flashback of what really happened when Talia was turned into the tree, and the Furies are like chasing them right into camp,
But the
but
Furies don't attack, which
they
I
don't
also
attack.
really liked
Hmm.
because like it doesn't really add up with Hades' later characterization.
Yes.
Not that he's like a good guy, but you know.
Yeah. Uh, and Zeus zaps the Furies down and shows up and talks to Talia. Like, and their conversation is so much of like parent and rebellious teen. And we obviously know that she is a punk teenager. Like that is her like one thing we know about her at this moment in the show.
She doesn't really like authority and she doesn't like the idea of being used. And what the Furies told her
About the great
was
prophecy, yeah.
yeah, I don't know if it was 100 it was something about I don't think they told her about the great prophecy. I mean they might have, I don't know. I got the impression that they were like your dad only brought you here because he wants to use you.
Hmm.
When you turn 16, something is going to happen.
Yes. And she like is arguing with him, and she's like, I would never be
Be
used as
your
your
weapon.
weapon, right? Um and Chiron admits to being told by Zeus to lie about what happened, which I think is such an interesting take on this in
Mm-hmm.
general. I think it adds so much information and depth to both her character, but then like how the characters are going to react in season three. As like Percy is like he has like I think it does he have this voiceover at this moment because the season begins with a voiceover about his nightmares, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it ends, doesn't it end with a voiceover? And he's like, because as Talia storms in the room, he's like,
Oh,
oh,
and she's
because
like,
my
"Where's
my nightmare
Annabeth?"
just walked in, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's so good too because Talia, like, before she gets zapped by Zeus, she's like, I'm gonna go grab my friends and get out of here. So she storms in looking for Annabeth. Is like, I need Annabeth. Oh my God, you're older. Okay, now I need Luke. Where's Luke? And I
Hmm.
was so worried that they were gonna try to like keep going, but they stopped at that moment with the voice and then added the voiceover, and I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. And that's how this season ends. And I think it's such a smart way to end it because it sets up not only Percy already has beef with Luke within like the world of the gods, but also between his relationship with Annabeth. Like he has that kind
Hmm.
of complicated beef. And then now we're setting up his beef with Talia, which similarly he has this like thing with, jealousy or just in general antagonistic emotion with Talia because of Talia's past relationship with Annabeth and all that. But also like he's like, you could also be part of this prophecy. And I now understand from my previous weird dreams and visions that one of us could be the hero and one of us could be the downfall. Like,
Hmm.
and that's terrifying because it's like, like it adds so much tension there, and I'm so excited for the next season. It's
Hmm.
oh
And it's so much fun that they're having this kind of like debate of what's the word? That they're having this debate already of which side would Talia choose. Because
hmm
Annabeth is adamant that Luke that she would not choose to ally with Luke, but Luke
hmm
is just as adamant that he would choose
that she would
that
choose.
she
Yeah.
would. So now we don't know either because we've had this
hmm
moment of her refusing to defying her father and telling him off and already doing all of this stuff.
hmm Absolutely. I'm so excited. It's so well done. And the
Because we
actors
didn't
are
talk about
great.
it, but oh my God, Luke has this moment with Annabeth where
Hmm.
he's like, "You didn't know her as long as I did. You knew her for 3 months. I had been with her for years." And it's like,
Yes.
oh, oh,
Yeah.
that hurts.
It's it's gonna be so good. Like, and I I don't have any fun facts about the season. My fun fact is go watch all the PR for the show because the kids are hilarious and they have like a little pre-watch show video that they do. It's so fun. And there's some great edits. So like, yes, there's Percabeth edits already, but I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the Talia and Percy two sides of the same or different sides of the same coin kind of edits. They're so good. I think I sent you one
Hmm.
earlier today. But like, so I don't have any fun facts. Instead, just go watch those editors on TikTok make some good stuff out of this season. Ah, it's so good.
I also will say, something else that I liked about this season, and part of it is just because this season was less mystery oriented,
Hmm.
is a legit criticism I have of the first season is how much they don't really have the like mysteries so much as, oh, this thing, here's the immediate answer to this thing.
Yeah.
And that didn't work in the first season. I think it works here.
And I think part of that is in the first season they had to make sure to make it palatable enough that it will be successful on Disney Plus because Disney
Hmm.
Plus was still not like a new platform, but like a newer platform. Whereas now they have a lot more footing in what they're making and that they know the success of the series because the series has been successful so much like enough that they've already get wrapped season three. Like it's
Hmm.
coming out at the end of this year, which is amazing, right?
Yes.
And so I think because they have had that financial success that they are able to make it how they want. It's still like blockbustery. It's still plays to the books, but it's just good.
Yeah. And it's also really fun just to have the kind of like real growth happening.
Hmm. Yes. Uh, so Amanda, is the TV show a good adaptation?
Yes, 100%. I'll fight everyone who doesn't say it, who's like whined about it being a bad adaptation. They're so wrong.
They're so wrong. I agree. I agree with you totally. This is a great adaptation. It has the heart of the series. It has, all the things I want in the series, and it adds so much depth and it extends the universe so much and it just makes sense. Like I see where they're going for the next seasons because they have already thought about it here. And I love that they're, having that forethought and putting that energy into the writing of it.
Hmm.
The only thing I was missing is the bubble scene, but I'm okay. I got enough Percabeth moments that I'm okay not having the bubble scene.
Well, the bubble scene's a little, I mean, this is just my opinion. You're allowed to feel very differently, but I always felt like the bubble scene is a little too romantic to be happening at this awkward stage of their lives. But also, can you imagine how feral he's going to be at the beginning of next season?
I'm so excited. I'm so
Hmm.
excited. I'm so excited to reread the next book because again, I've not read the rest of the series in over 10 years. So that's going to be a blast.
Hmm.
And we don't have to wait that long, which is so wonderful. Because last time we had to
Yes.
wait a long time.
Well, last time in between, like, taking a while to be greenlit and then the writer's strike.
Yep. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I was like, why did it take long? That's why it took long. But yeah. Well, thanks again, Amanda.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, listeners, for listening. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Read the Book First Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to your preferred podcasting platform and rate us 5 stars. If it's not 5 stars, don't
Don't
worry
worry
about
about it.
it. And remember, read the book first.